has like very different white tier. All right, we have white tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, you know, and then others. Some people call it layers. All right, layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, layer, you know. Then at the, you know, list at the mostly the HTTP, like the TP layer, transport protocol layer. Okay, that is where most of the time, most of the web architectures are being formed, or where most of the web architectures are being based. Okay, where you have a single IP protocol that's controlling the whole network. All right. So what happened in this case? Single line connections, where it is one connection at a time, where the requester is open. Then after the requester is done, it waits for the responder to respond. Okay, just like the, you know, the walkie-talkie stuff. All right. If I have to talk, I have to tap. Okay, signal. I'm to talk. Once I'm done, I call over and then I switch over then to hear what is going on. So you see, the request cycle is call and respond, and not like it's not a two-way direction. It's only a single communication switch. All right. And now, this should lead us to the next thing I would dwell so much about, which is the request lifecycle. Okay, request has lifecycle. Okay, when at the point where it is sent, received, when the like when it is sent, when you sent, now you requested. So the next thing that does, the server is now what? Waiting. So like it's just like when you open a port, okay, the server does what? Does, you know, the server port is open. So you request. Now once you request, so the next point or the next stopping is when the server actually gets a request and then does what? Just send you back. So you request, you wait, and then you receive the response. Okay. Now the one in PHP, so enough of the talk. So in PHP, we have super globals to manage a lot of things. Okay, you can use, most times people use the server super globals and the request super globals to manipulating requests. All right. So for example, if I'm about to probably send a request maybe to CodeCamp. I don't think CodeCamp has defense of. Okay, if I'm going to send a request to, let's say I'm trying to see some other, okay, let's say Google, and of course, so I'm requesting Google. Then this request is being received. So next, another request is being sent, and you see this is now being found. He searches. So remember I talked about request lifecycle. So first, hold on. So and before then, so for ID, I don't know. So we are not talking about ID now. So I'll just choose to use whatever. Okay, so I'll just move this to here. Of course. So yeah. All right. So I'll stick to this. Then the next thing I will do is to start up a server here. Oh, failed to listen. So that means I have a running server somewhere. So I'm closing this. Yeah, there we go. Okay, great. So for my IDE for today, I'm going to be using PHP stuff.
So I can see your IDF.
Can you
I see it
see
now.
my?
Yes, I can see it now.
Okay. So while that is waiting, okay, cross projects. Okay, so preparing. Okay, so great. So we have this. So the next thing I got to show you is every request has meta. All right. So meta are in form of those head. All right. Head. Those head data that you have. For example, content type, host, and some other random stuff. Okay. So in this case, I don't know why my system is getting slow. Yeah, exactly. There we go. So now let me show you something. So before you get to talk about request life cycle, so before we get to talk about request life cycle, like I said, PHP has various super globals that is used in most cases to handle to handle to manipulate or handle requests. One of them is the server super globals. Then the next one is this. So the next one is requests. Then the other one, I think there's something like this. I think they should be, but for now. So now, what is all this one for? So for now, like I said, the super globals, if you are trying to, the request super globals has just a lot in respect to the request. Let's look at that. I don't know why my ID is getting slow. So in case you are trying to, this is very useful in debugging and trying out things, okay, in PHP. Sorry, my system is actually having the best of me right now. I've been working since morning, so I don't blame it, and it's not enough. So it might be one of the causes anyway. Okay. So it's saying array of 0. No, that is not going. That's not supposed to be. So now you see, that is one of them. So now the next one. So this is used to catch some query and some other random stuff. Okay. And now if you are trying to get, why is this thing dull now? What kind of thing is this? Okay, so fine. So you've seen this. So where we have, much of the information about the server and some other stuff. Okay. So now, in each request, so what happens is when you're trying to send a request, it comes with some other meta. I want to connect this probably through other means, and then I specify this. So this is actually going to change. So these things, some of these things, you can see them with HTTP, like in respect to this HTTP. So they are what meta. So we have the host to be, the origin host, like the client's origin host. We have queries in case of queries. In case there are queries. Like for example, when I try to query this, or so in this case, he had query of some other random stuff. Query of 2 equals whatever that is. Okay, so we have this. Now, so basic way to manipulate these things is to get information or to get some certain information needed for your whatever you want to do, and then hold on. So in respect to whatever you're trying to do, for example, if you're trying to, only accept some certain hosts, so it's easier for you to get the host and then specify, all right, only hosts from this origin are allowed to access my platform. Okay. So I can easily do something like some random if check. Some random if check if whatever server host I think I did make some mistakes. So there. I think I will have to end and rejoin again because it is becoming unbearable.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so while my ID is loading up again, hope it doesn't mess up. this time. Ah, I didn't have a very smooth class the other time, so I don't know why it's messing up. So like I was saying, so mostly the request life cycle, just has to always be, you know, point of initiation, reception, and then resolving the request. Okay, resolving the request means when you are sending back response. All right. All right. So I was trying to demo this thing. So, like I was saying, in this case, hope I'm safe to you, God of mercy. What's all this now? Okay, so I need to boot up my server. So before we can continue. What is all this one? I think this is what is causing these issues. So I think I'll have to switch. So yeah, so I'll have to switch to another editor. So I believe that is why it's slowing down my system. All right. So we back. Okay. So let's see how this goes now. Yeah, so fine. So you see this request has been able to been sent and then resolved. All right. So it's been sent, it's been received, and it's been resolved. If I should add more query, so you can still see that it's been sent, Q sent, and as well it's been resolved. So one of the beautiful thing about this, so resolving has to be with, like I was saying, a response has to be sent. A valid response has to be sent to the client. All right. So now, in the case where we don't have, or where we have to, track. Of course, of course, every request has its time. All right. The time of it begins, the time it ends. So I think I should spare small time, and then we talk about that on how to measure requests. Measuring the request in most cases has to do with start time minus response time. Response time. This is actually, how you measure request points. And the only point where you measure a request is at the beginning of the request and at the response, like when the request starts and when the request ended. I think we are in PHP intermediate. I don't know if I should spend a little bit of time where I show you how to measure requests, but then but I think best way to do that should be probably JavaScript. Or I'm thinking if you should use JavaScript or use two different scripts. So in trying to figure out what to do, but I think let's just use this. Or probably we should leave it for another day where we can do some other things. So yeah, another easier thing or easier ways to capture that, of course, is to use your console. Where you have network tab. So you can see 20 milliseconds. Hold on. Yeah, great. Yeah, you see. So you can see the status. Status is being successful. So what is returning is actually document. All right. So it means it's sending us a file. All right. Then we have the size. And we have the time. Okay. So now if you look at this, content downloaded, time it took for a content to be downloaded, 21.44 meter per second. So you can see all these contents have been downloaded to the client. Now this is the time it took the request to be sent. 2.05 milliseconds. There are several ways to do it. Okay, you can manually get this information right on the front end, but most times I want us to stick through to. I just want us to stick only on PHP. That's why I resorted to using this. Okay, so now the next thing you can see, it did stall for about 9.20 milliseconds. All right, it tried to look up to DNS and some initial connections, and then this is the total duration. If you're looking to if you're looking to see more or if you're trying to read more, so you can easily check up on this. So what it actually does, or how to actually calculate this request. All right, now there are several things you can do with these super globals. These two super globals, the server and the request. Remember, request is just only probably maybe you are trying to get word array of requests. Okay, this is where you use the request, and then but although server still contains some part of the request. Okay, now if you are trying to manipulate a request, this is where you use in manipulating a request cycle. All right, I did show you in the object where we have oh hold on, I need to set some few things. Yeah, great. So this is what I needed to do. So you see, this is where you do the manipulation. So this is where you do the manipulation. So you come down here. If you look at this, so there are several other things to look at. The root, remote address. So this is where our server is. This is the actual port. This has to be do with our server on its own. Now these are the main meter. The main meter you can use in doing a lot of things. Now I did talk about request time. This is the request time in integer. All right, and we have the cookies. Okay, any redirect is English, where you can manipulate and then do a lot of things. Accept language, you can change the language of acceptance, and so on and so forth. Now, like I did mention, let's go through some different life cycle. I will see recap again. So each, where the request is being sent, where it is, when it is being received, where it is being sent, where it is being received, and where it is being resolved. Resolved means it's been sent, it has sent back some response. Okay. And now the next thing we'll be talking about, we'll just based on refreshment of our OOP. Okay, OOP. Of course, the OOP things, it enhances and provides for cleaner code, enhances code, and then provides cleaner and a well readable code, and not just that, separation of concerns. So base thing is it makes programming, or it makes software development and separation of logics very easier. Okay, so imagine where you have bunch of things put together. All right, so where you have to go in and then struggle to see where it is located, than where you have, for example, you have a motorcycle where you have the tank situated in a place with its own logic. All right, where the fuel pump, everything has to do with the fuel. All right, the fuel system is on the tank. Okay, the only point it does is just send out fuel. All right, filtering is done in the tank. Okay, pumping is done in the tank. The only thing it just does, pump it to the, probably to the carburetor. You have the engine where all it does, just provide power. You have the transmission. Okay, and so on and so forth. This is in the case where we did talk about um the car thing. I think we did talk about the car thing. Okay, where there is a car, no matter how a car is always a car. A car has manufacturers. All right, that's a car has makers, but inside the car has different components, very different components. Okay, so I'm thinking of a practical thing that we can build right now, so that can make sense. But then let's just go through this. So we have a class car. All right, so sorry, so I'm going to create another fresh file. So one of the things we are going to be doing here, so, is to make sure at least clean code whatever we are doing, and then cartridge. Then we have automakers. All right. So all right. So in most cases, if you are what is best in in PHP, I think when you get down to OP, I will explain it. I'll do a lot of explanation. I'll do it. If you are trying to, provide. So if you are trying to provide a class like this, so one of the things is I did talk about encapsulation the other time. So you need to make sure that your things are properly encapsulated. Okay, in this case, so I am just going to use an abstract class. So and yeah, I think we did have public of make and protected uh, so every car VIN is always associated with the car. Okay, so it shouldn't be changed except from an authorized person. Okay, it could be the dealer, it could be whatever. So VIN. All right. So in most cases, so we have to we have to two conventions. All right. So in most cases, when you are trying to do encapsulation, there are two things that is should always come to your mind. All right. If you are trying to write stuff like this, okay, a setter and a getter. All right. A setter are simply functions. Setter and getters are simply functions that either for setter are simply functions that set the value of a variable. In most cases, what you do not just set these values of variable. You do some basic authorizations. Okay, some basic checks. Okay, is this person or is this model who is trying to mutate this thing worthy to be mutated? What is actually trying to mutate this variable? If it is not, if if this very model is not permitted to mutate it, it should be bounced back. This model shouldn't be, allowed to mutate the intended variable. So in this case, I'll just declare. I mean, just I think only one, two getters. All right. Or let me just only one getter and one setter. I think that should be done. Then from there you can manipulate the other things. Shoving. Oh, the Kamika. So yeah. So I think this will stop crying now. So where is this coming up from? So all right. Now next one. So it should be able to have a constructor that do insert this. Vin, and then the next one should be because it's a public function, so we just insert this. Although we can do it. So in most cases, some people can likely do their comments here. Okay. Where they specify whatever or something like this. And then I think we should have the next method that must be implemented in all case. Sets bin. So where we have value there. Okay, so this is done for now. So I do want to show you something. Remember, this is working. This should work very fine. So even without us, what's this? Even without us, you know, having to always do anything else, this should work very fine. But
Hello, sir.
yes, yes, go on.
What I want to say is that when you require, you don't put .php. Is it going to work like that?
I didn't get that.
When you want to import those other class, you don't put .php. Is it going to work like that?
I didn't get you.
What I'm trying to say is that when you want to import, yes, line number 2 and 4, you don't put .php. Is it going to work like that?
No, I'm not done. I think oh no, it's not going to work. So you have to. Well, in some case, it should work. Why shouldn't it work?
Okay, sir.
Yes, it should work. No, it should work. Why shouldn't
Okay,
it
okay.
work? It's talking now. You can see. Ooh, let's see. I don't know. I haven't. Have I really tried this before? No, I've not. Yeah. Hello, Lizzie. So literally, I don't need to run this code to see if it is running or not. Okay, I just need to an error is there. You just need to see. Automaker does not implement the method set vim. All right. So what is this saying? Now you see car interface. All right. So car interface has some most implemented method. Okay. Or I can as well probably try to see that, or maybe probably try to inject some other stuff like variable and so on and so forth. But then I will not be able to do anything, okay, with both the extended class or the base class without actually implementing all the extended in all the extended what is it all the method that is being specified, all the data members or data functions that have been specified by the interface. Okay, so it doesn't matter where I'm actually going to be implementing it. I can implement it in the base class. I can as well implement it in the inherited class. Now, the powers of interfaces is just basically to restrict and to, should I say, guide and direct programmers into some core implementations. Okay, for example, you want a user to do some, or you want to do a thing, and you are trying to make sure that, okay, should I say, it's just like writing your own documentation and making sure that you're following it. Shigina, you understand? Or you are writing a simple documentation for some other person and making sure that they follow it. So what do we do in the next is just go down to probably this or any of the app. Okay, this is the abstract car. So this is the abstract class. So we can implement it there. But in this case, this is always not a nice design. So better design is keep things clean, keep it in the traits, or keep it in where you can easily remember. Public function shoving. No, no, not shoving. Set vin. Now see if I implement it incorrectly, so there should be an error. Automatically there should be an error. Automaker extends car. Okay, the error is gone, but there's still going to be problem. All right, so we have this. So we have this. Mm-hmm. Okay. That is it. Mm, done. So now the next thing we have to do is just pass down the value to the parent class or the base class. I think should just throw an error again. Uh-huh. So now, all right. So I think that's will not work because it still needs the extension. I was actually oh, I'm using PHP 4. So she still gets. So yeah, so we do have this. Idea. Hello. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, are you still there?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now, yeah, we got it. So the main thing is number one for you to note, interfaces most times allows you to preset some basic okay in a class before you even begin coding. So most of the time, some people love to um they love to they love to I was contemplating if I should still talk about multiple inheritance right now with PHP. Then I think I remember this was just for a recap. Okay, now back to the what we're doing. So I think during this thing during the main OOP class. So what we'll be doing, we'll dive deeper more into OP where we'll talk about multiple inheritance. Originally, PHP does not support multiple inheritance, but there is a way you can do it. Interface provides a way you can work around that. All right, and yeah. So Now the next one. Okay, interfaces are basically guidelines. They allow you to set rules before you actually begin the actual coding. Okay. So in this case, we did talk about getter. So I will now sit down to explain these things very well. Now I'll go back to catch rate and then implement some other functions I needed. Chauvin and protected. Now let me show you something. So I was going to do some, but then before then, so let me just paste this. Let me just talk about this, and then probably we can go down to the next step. right. Mutation count. Mutation count. We have mutation count to be 1, and we have the values injected correctly. So and the next one. So if you look at this, what's this? Oh, this is not going to print. I was supposed to log that out. So just like I think uh, so basically, so what happens here is in most cases, what you do here, you set listeners, all right? So in this case, I wanted to print this out, but I think better way is not to print it out, because if it is other stuff, maybe probably I can log it out, but I've not set up log yet on here. Or maybe we can use some other things to demo. Let me just comment this out. But of course, this is a function, because setter and getter, each time you are trying to run this, so this shows up a function. This is like a listener that does not allow pure manipulations to happen outside the class. All right, for example, if I'm to do anything else, meaning that I'm going to be doing it in this class, else on every extended class, in the case of these two things, every other extended class, you can't do anything on it again. So you mutate once, just once, and if you have to mutate again, it means that you have to do it within this place. In this case, within here. All right. So everything you have to do, you are doing here. If it goes out of here, that means it is that is for the private data members. Now for public data members, all right. If it's you can access it anywhere. Of course, you can change the model in wherever instances it is. I think here too. I can just store this in a variable. Anyway. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So like I was saying, I didn't notice my mic was muted. So now you see this.
Okay.
So this look pretty decent and pretty much understandable. Like I was talking about, you know, the point of this. So you can set up observers or listeners and try to prevent the user from doing a certain things based on some certain condition. All right. So now the next one that getters and setters help you to do is actually to prevent some unauthorized access depending on which level it is accessing. So it has to, for example, if it is going to be accessed by some certain module, it's going to only be that module that accesses it. All right. So now the next thing we'll be talking about, like I did mention, we will be talking about the next one is rest. So we're talking so much on this. That's why I did not dwell on this. I did mention of how the communication layer between a client and a server is being done. All right. And then I did mention that a client, you send in a request to a server and then you wait for the server response, and then the request always has meta. So definitely in the next class, so we'll talk much more better on this. So for now I will just be open for any questions, and yeah, this is just going to be a question, and then we round up, and then we're off here. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. So is there any question? So we round up here.
Actually, there's no question now.
Okay. So in the next class, so sorry I didn't come with a lot of material. So for the next class, there's going to be just some other things. So a lot of things we are going to be doing. So like I said, we'll be doing rest tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be talking about rest, and then we will likely be building something accordingly. So I'll build something already before the class, and then we will work on it.
Okay, sir.
All right. So thanks for joining, and you have a nice day ahead.
Yeah, thank you, sir.